just wanted to explain this philosophy kind of in brief. So first one is only don't know, which means to keep the clear mind or keep the mind that is free from concepts. And then the second aspect is the try, which means just to live every day business as usual. In other words, don't make a fuss about things. If you're tired or you're not feeling well or you have a bad mood or whatever, just don't give it too much thought and don't make anything out of it and just live your life like you do normally every day. And life is not very complicated unless you make it so. So in other words, you just get up, you go to the bathroom, you might have some breakfast, and then you go to work or wherever you need to go, you meet people. And so what that it means, like even if you're not in a good mood or even if you're tired, go about life without too many like concepts or too much thinking and try. Try means just do your best. Don't give up. Don't give in to your temporary emotions. When we give into the emotions or when we believe in the emotions, if we let our thoughts proliferate, then life becomes more difficult and more kind of obstacles. Try to live every day just as you would any other day. Let's say on a good day, or you feel good and you're in a good mood and you have good energy. So live every day like that, no matter how you feel. Of course, that doesn't mean neglect your health or it just means to try. It means to do your best. And all obstacles in life comes from giving up or giving in to the like despondency or temporary emotions. All emotions are temporary, right? Whatever emotions we face every day is temporary. But if we indulge the emotions, then they become very difficult to deal with, and they can last for a long time. But if you don't indulge them, you just go about business as usual. Whatever your emotions, just don't give them too much concern. And no matter how you feel physically, or no matter what mood you're in, don't give it too much concern and go about business as usual. And then these temporary emotions, they change. Yeah, so all obstacles, all suffering comes from indulging our emotions, indulging the temporary emotions, not knowing they're just temporary. So, so try means to live every day as you would on a good day. And then every day is actually turns out to be a good day. So, um, and then the third aspect is to help all beings. This is the principle of thinking of others. And our habit is to think about yourself mostly. And of course, you care about your family, but just only your family. You don't care about others' family. And so, why not care about others' family? They're also human beings. And why not care about others? And caring about others and helping out others, then as a byproduct, we are happy. Our happiness actually depends on how much we contribute to others' happiness. So this means try to live every day, understanding this, that our happiness depends on how much we contribute to the happiness of others. In Buddhism, we call this interdependence. So our happiness and our well-being and our everything actually depends on others. For example, the clothes we wear right now, and the food that we will eat later on during lunch, and that's totally dependent upon the kindness and the effort of others, isn't it? And where you live. This is what we mean by interdependence. And just like we depend on others for our material things, we also depend on others for our happiness because we are all connected. So when we cause others problems, then it is like causing problems for ourselves. And when we make others unhappy, we become unhappy. When we make others happy, then we are happy because we are one. We are connected. But we don't think we don't know this connection. We don't know that we're connected. That's the problem. We think that we're independent. We're not. So this is the third principle, is help all beings. Try to be of help to others. 이 세 가지 원리는 이제 오직 모를 뿐이라는 마음은 이제 생각을 굴리지 말라는 거예요. 그냥 이 청정한 마음을 유지하고, 두 번째는 이제 try. 이것은 그냥 하루하루 살면서 답을 찾지 말고 막 알아내려고 하고, 삶이 어떤지 알아내려고 하지 말고 그냥 하루하루를 평소처럼 살아라는 거예요. 모든 삶의 장애는 이 일시적인 감정에 빠져서 있는 거예요. 그래서 감정은 일시적이라서 하루를 똑같이 살면, 할 일을 하고 생각으로 뭘 만들지 않고, 그럼 하루하루가 이제 좋은 날이 되는 거예요. 그래서 평소처럼 살으라는 거예요. 두 번째는 try. 그냥 피곤해도, 기분이 안 좋아도 일어나고 할 일을 하고 사람을 만나고, 뭘로 만들지 말라는 거예요. 그 일시적인 그러한 기분이든 일시적인 감정이든 슬픔이든, 특히 낙담과 우울과 또한 이런 일시적인 감정에 너무 신경 쓰지 말라는 거예요. 그래서 그렇게 하면 풀려요. 모든 감정이 일시적이니까 지나가고 말아요. 세 번째는 모든 중생을 도우라. 이것은 이제 그 연기법, 우리가 다 연결이 돼 있다는 거예요. 우리가 잘 먹고 잘 사는 것은 남을 의지해서 잘 먹고 잘 살잖아요. 이렇게 옷도, 입는 옷도, 먹는 음식도 마찬가지로 우리의 행복도 남에게 달려 있어요. 남을 불행하게 하면 우리가 다 연결이 되어 있기 때문에 우리가 불행하고, 남을 행복하게 하면 우리가 행복하고, 우리의 행복과 또한 뭐 건강과 모든 것은 이제 남을 의지해서, 그래서 남의 중요성을 여기 의미하는 거예요. 그래서 우리 하루하루 살면서 다른 사람을 생각하는 거예요. 자기만 생각하지 않고, 우리는 항상 이렇게 자기만 생각하고 있거든요. 하루하루 살면서 이렇게 자기 가족만 생각하죠. 자기 가족이라서 이렇게 생각하는 거지. 그래서 이제 조금 더 범위를 넓혀서 이제 남을 생각하자는 이 말이죠. Okay. That's a very kind of brief introduction to my philosophy. I try to live by this philosophy, which means that every day just live with an open heart, open mind, not conceptualize things, not get lost in my thoughts, and just live every day without too much expectations. Live every day like business as usual. Try not to care about how you feel so much, just because it's temporary. Especially if you're in a bad mood, then if you indulge the bad mood, then that can last for a long time. But if you don't give it much concern, bad mood doesn't last too long. Emotions that don't last too long as you don't indulge them. And then try to think of others, and that is the kind of the key to our happiness, is thinking of others. Yeah. You can meditate anytime, all the time, whatever you do, as long as you know what you're doing, that's meditation. Yeah. Chanting, singing, dancing, shitting, yeah, whatever you do, you can still be aware. You can still meditate. You've never done shitting meditation? Similar to sitting meditation. I'm just kidding, of course, but no, you can, whatever you do, you can meditate. That's because as long as you're aware of what you're doing, as long as you know what you're doing, that's meditation. So her question is, as she's meditated, her anger has been reduced. However, her sadness or depression is kind of not reduced. So what we have to understand is, meditation is not about getting rid of depression. It's about learning to have a better relationship with depression. It's okay to be depressed. It's actually kind of weird if you're not depressed because life is depressing. And it's not about getting rid of being depressed. It's about learning to have a better relationship with depression and learning to be okay with being depressed. That is the meditation. Uh, okay, I'm depressed today. So what? It's just a feeling. It's just and it's about feeling the depression. It's about being with the depression without any resistance or trying to get rid of it, um, and learning how to befriend our depression. And we have to have this kind of attitude. Okay, I could be depressed every day for the rest of my life, no problem. Because the depression itself is not the problem. Not wanting the depression, hating the depression, this is the problem. If you don't have any problem with depression, right? That's not a problem, right? Then depression is no longer a problem. For example, you hate your roommate. I mean, your roommate has a very bad personality, bad character, whatever. But if you don't have any problems with that, then the roommate is okay, right? But if you have a problem with your roommate, then it's suffering. Like for example, a baby poops, right? But the mothers, they don't have a problem with that poop because they love the baby, right? Even though it's poop. So if you don't have a problem with the depression, then it doesn't become a problem. It's not a problem. 사람들이 오해가 있는데 명상은 이제 우울함을 없애는 것이다. 이렇게 착각을 하는데 그게 아니고요. 우울함과 더 친절한 관계, 우울해도 괜찮은 게 이게 명상이거든요. 평생 우울해도 괜찮아. 이런 마음으로 살아야 된다는 거죠. 그래서 이 우울함과 친절한 관계, 우울함과 화목하게 지내는 것을 배워야 된다는 거예요. However, if we learn to live with depression with friendliness, with openness, with kindness, if we live with an acceptance, then strangely depression is gets weaker, and also sometimes we're not as depressed, even though we're okay with depression. It's almost like you like depression. You can like depression. You don't have to necessarily hate it. Then it's like depression is like I don't know, more difficult to be depressed for some reason. 약간 어떻게 보면 우울함을 좋아해야 된다는 거예요. 좋아할 수도 있거든요, 사실. 꼭 싫어할 필요는 없어요. 근데 이렇게 우울함을 친절하게 받아들이고 우울해도 괜찮으면 훨씬 덜 우울한 거예요. 이상하게. 우울함을 좋아할 수도 있는데 근데 그렇게 또 우울함을 받아들이고 좋아하면 우울함이 또 잘 안 나와요. 근데 우울함을 없애려고 하면 계속 우울함이 귀신처럼 우리를 쫓아다녀요. If you try to get rid of the depression, then depression follows us around, like haunts us, like a ghost. But if we don't mind the depression, if we can accept the depression, if we can be friendly with our depression, it's okay to be depressed, then depression somehow doesn't want to hang around so much. But if you try to get rid of depression, this is the thing, is you think, oh, now if I meditate, I can get rid of depression. And then depression will haunt us. It will follow us around. 우울함을 없애려고 하면 우울함이 우리를 쫓아다니고 그리고 계속 이 무의식적으로 이렇게 작동을 하고, 근데 우울함을 받아들이고 우울해도 괜찮으면 희한하게도 훨씬 덜 우울하고, 근데 우울해도 괜찮으면 뭐 우울해도 괜찮은 거잖아요. 그런 거예요. It's not about resolving your depression. Maybe it can never be resolved. It can never be resolved. And we have to give up the fantasy of resolution. Anxiety and also laziness. It's not something to be resolved. It's something to live with harmoniously, accept, and have no problems with it. If we have no problem with laziness, then we are less lazy if we don't have a problem with laziness. Because we are by nature not lazy. It's not our nature to be lazy. It's our nature to be diligent. It's not our nature to be depressed. It's our nature to be happy. It's not our nature to be angry. It is our nature to be compassionate. So when we can accept these kind of so-called negative aspects of ourselves, then we are naturally can act according to our nature more. our true nature, which is compassionate, which is happy, which is open, which is peaceful. 이 중요한 것은 뭐 무기력이든 게으름이든 우울이든 불안이든 이게 해결할 게 아니라는 거예요. 해결에 대한 환상을 버려야 돼요. 해소될 수 있다는, 해결될 수 있다는 게 이제 환상이거든요. 어쩌면 평생 불안하고 평생 살아있는 동안, 우리는 살아있는 동안에는 불안하고 슬프고 뭐 게으르고 그럴 수밖에 없는 거예요. 집착하고. 근데 그거를 해결하는 게 아니라 그런 감정들과 화목하게 지내는 것을 배워야 된다는 거예요. 해결하려고 하지 않고, 해결에 대한 환상을 버리고, 이렇게 하면, 게으러도 괜찮으면, 게으름을 없애려고 하지 않으면 훨씬 덜 게을러요. 왜냐하면 우리의 참 본성은 게을르지 않거든요. 선천적으로 본성적으로는 우리는 부지런해요. 우리는 본성적으로 우울하지 않거든요. 본성적으로는 우리는 행복해요. 기뻐요. 본성적으로 이렇게 타고나게. 그러니까 이런 타고난 성질은 만들 필요가 없어요. 자기의 안 좋은 성질에 대한 그 친절함을 가지면 그럼 자연스럽게 우리의 타고난 그런 성품은 저절로 일어난다는 거예요. 부지런함, 기쁨, 행복 이런 것은 우리의 본성이기 때문에 그냥 저절로 일어나요. 방해하지 않으면. 근데 막 슬픔을 집착하고 막 불안을 집착하고 이러면 그게 이제 방해가 되기 때문에 이제 그게 저절로 일어나지 않는다는 거예요. We are by nature happy. We are by nature peaceful. We are by nature wise. We are by nature diligent. So that means we don't need to make effort to be happy. We don't need to make effort to be peaceful. It is our nature to be happy. It is our nature to be peaceful. It is our nature to be diligent. It is our nature. So we don't need to make effort. We just have to stop indulging in the sadness or depression or anxiety or laziness. And if we don't indulge these things, if we can be kind to these kind of negative aspects of ourselves, then we are peaceful and happy and wise. In other words, if there is nothing that disturbs our mind is naturally peaceful. If we're open, our mind is naturally happy and peaceful. Let's say you get, let's say, $1 million, then how would you feel? Very, very happy, ecstatic. Yeah, yeah, ecstatic, isn't it? And then, but is that happiness last forever? No, of course not. Then it comes down, and then you might experience the other way, depression or whatever. And so this is what's called conditional happiness. Conditional happiness. So in other words, it's based on some external condition, whether it's money or whether it's food or sex or whatever. And this what? Cocaine? Yeah, or cocaine. Yeah. Anyway, and then this kind of is external. This kind of happiness is conditional happiness. So our nature is unconditional happiness. We don't need anything to be happy. For example, do you remember when you were a very young girl, very little girl? I mean, I was very, very happy when I was living in Korea until I went to America at the age of 9. So I experienced a lot of happiness. And I lived in a very small village in southern part of Korea. But this kind of happiness was kind of pure happiness. We didn't have very many things. We weren't very wealthy. And so anyway, we are by nature happy. And this happiness is unconditional. Unconditional. If there's nothing that disturbs our mind, we don't need anything to be happy. We are just happy. We're just happy beings. But we have to discover this unconditional happiness because it is covered up by our karma, by our thinking, by our conditioned mind, like people like His Holiness Dalai Lama or Buddha, they have discovered this unconditional happiness, this happiness that is always happy, already happy, and infinitely happy is our nature. Infinitely, already, and always happy and peaceful and kind and wise. That is our nature. But problem is we haven't really been able to connect with that nature. We're always thinking, so that's why we're not connected with that nature. So so we have to differentiate between the true happiness and what's called the like fake, you could say fake happiness or temporary happiness. Temporary happiness is not true happiness, or it's conditional happiness. So the real happiness is the unconditional happiness that comes from connecting with our true nature. But that doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with enjoying sensual happiness or like happiness that comes through the senses, eating and going to a nice, beautiful mountain or these kind of happinesses. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that most people think that is the only happiness in life. It comes from the outside. So, and that's not true. Really the great happiness comes from discovering who we really are and becoming free from the mental delusions and emotional struggles. So 간단히 말씀드리면 이렇게 조건 있는 행복은 이제 조건에 의해서 일어나는 행복은 참된 행복 아니라 일시적인 행복. 그것도 나쁜 게 아니라 일반 사람들은 뭘 먹어서 아니면 섹스를 해서 아니면 뭐를 돈 때문에 이렇게 생기는 이런 행복이 진짜 행복이라고 생각하는 게 문제죠. 이런 것은 일시적인 행복이고 이런 것을 즐기는 건 나쁜 게 아니에요. 근데 이제 그것으로 인하여 생기는 집착이 이제 고통을 만들고 이런 거죠. 그래서 진짜 행복은 우리 안에 있어요. 조건 없는 행복. 그거는 이런 다르마 준자님이나 이런 부처님은 이제 그 조건 없는 행복, 조건 없고 이미 있고 항상 가능하고 그리고 무한한 이 행복이 우리의 참 본성이에요. 그것은 우리는 아직 연결이 못 돼 있고 가려져 있다는 거예요. 그래서 그것을 이제 연결하고 참 본성 연결하고 드러나게 하고 또한 참 본성으로 살 수 있고 또 참 본성을 깨우칠 수가 있어요. 그럼 이제 이런 성인이 되는 거죠.